everybody, welcome to Lifehacker for the week of July 23rd. With me is Adam Dodges.
Hello.
Whitson Gordon. I'm Adam Pash. We're going to be going over some news, answering some questions, looking at some downloads. So let's get to it. So the first piece of news this week, it looks like AT&T, everyone's favorite cell phone carrier, may be charging extra for FaceTime over 3G in iOS 6.
Not if you're jailbroken.
Yeah, so what happened is a lot of iOS 6 beta users, the ones who are on AT&T, are noticing that when they go to use FaceTime over 3G, you get a little pop-up that says, go to this link or call AT&T to set this up, which is the same message you get when you try to tether and you haven't set up tethering on your plan. The Verizon iOS 6 beta users have not noticed this message, leading people to believe that AT&T might be charging you an extra fee to use FaceTime over 3G on top of the data that you're already paying for.
Good.
Which is kind of ridiculous. And we were talking about this a little earlier, and it's kind of, so they charge extra for tethering, which is annoying, but that's one thing because it's, you're using that data in a different way. But most people are already paying for limited data. Yeah. And to charge an extra fee just to use the data you're already paying for?
Well, the nice thing about tethering, I totally disagree with having to pay extra for tethering, because if you have 2 gigabytes of data, who cares?
I agree.
Me too.
But but at least they give you more data. So hopefully we'll see the rest of the story, and maybe the 3G FaceTime thing will be it doesn't count out of your data if you use it that way, and they'll do something like that, which would be really nice.
I think the thing that's weird, if they are charging for it, it's strange that actually Apple will allow them to do that, because normally Apple's very strict about what they allow carriers to charge for.
Yeah.
And specifically with FaceTime versus tethering. Tethering is limited to, power users are going to tether. Most people aren't going to tether, but when my grandma wants to FaceTime and she's given some strange message, that's going to disrupt the experience of what the device is sort of made for, and sort of the nonsense, anyone can figure it out.
Well, also it's you can still do it on Skype. You don't have to pay.
Well, that's what I told my mom when she kept saying, "Why can't I FaceTime you over 3G?" I was like, "Just use Skype. Problem solved." Because then also, if you use Skype, then you can Skype with people across platforms. She can Skype with me on my computer. It's just easier.
Skype is I find it much easier to use on the phone. The FaceTime thing is a little confusing on who you're dialing. And
I just don't think it's been done all that well, or at least integrated into the system as well as it should be.
Yeah, and hopefully that'll improve over time. But right now, it's just I feel like I'd rather use Skype anyway. Yeah, it always works well.
I don't think I've ever FaceTimed in earnest.
Yeah, just the
tested
time.
FaceTime.
Yeah, when we plastered my phone to the wall.
that was fantastic.
So your mom FaceTimes?
She wanted to, because she got her iPhone and she was all excited. She was like, "I want to FaceTime you," and I'm like, but she couldn't get the, our Wi-Fi was broken or something, so she was all upset. And I was like, "Just Skype me. I have Skype on." At the time I was on an Android phone. I was like, "I don't have FaceTime anyway." Gotcha. And Skype, Skype is cross-platform, so we Skyped. When I got this apartment, I was Skyping her and showing her the apartment. And it was really cool, and it works really well over 3G. I was shocked.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
All right, moving along. So we all know everything that we do is killing us, and this week Adam specifically looked over all of the horrors of all the news magazine horrors that are killing us every single day, and try to debunk or at least de-sensationalize a lot of those claims. So tell us a little bit.
Well, what we're doing right now is we're dying slowly because we're sitting down, and that's probably the one we talk about the most, is that I think everyone here at this table and everyone at Lifehacker has written a post at some point about how sitting is killing you and how you should stand up more, or get a standing desk or whatever. So there's that. There's there's the study of geomedicine, which believes that your location may be killing you. You're more likely, like us in LA, we're more likely to get a heart attack. Not as likely as people in New York, but there's that. And then what was the other one? There was one more. But basically, the idea behind, there are a lot of these things, and for the most part, it's just kind of finding a medium. They're not wrong generally. There are a lot of studies that that say that you're going to die if you do, if you sit down for your whole life.
There are more studies that came out this week that said sitting was killing us.
Yeah, and it's just, the food poison one. Sugar and milk are the most horrible things in the world for you. And the thing is, it's with any of these, with food and with sitting, and for most things, it's just kind of you can do them, obviously, but you want to move once in a while. It's the problem that people do everything in excess. If we eat too much sugar, we have too much dairy, and they're not necessarily. We just have to think of them as things that we enjoy and not things that are necessarily good to eat all the time. And sitting, the same thing. We may like not moving around, but it's good to be inconvenienced and have to get up once in a while.
Right, and with sitting, I remember I did a post last year. I think you linked to it in your post that basically sitting desks, standing desks, neither are they're both bad. If the main thing is you have to move regularly. You need to get up and move around once every hour or something like that. If you're standing, you should move around once every hour, like walking around, just getting your blood flowing and moving around.
A treadmill desk.
Yeah.
Tread desk. Good point.
Yeah.
Not having a treadmill desk is killing you. But obviously it's just one of the same things. Yeah, everything
in moderation.
Or even and you can take any statistic. I'm dying in a million ways. We're all going to die, I guess. Sadly.
Yeah.
Oh, I might not. I'm with the Kurzweil. I'm waiting for the singularity to come. And when that happens,
my Midwestern lungs are dying from breathing this LA air.
Yeah.
Likewise.
That's what it is.
Well, anyway,
we're all gonna die someday.
The moral of the story is we're all gonna die someday,
except me,
except Pash.
Just
everything in moderation.
Move around once in a while.
I think if I remember, it's been a while since I've read The Singularity is Near, but I think if we live to the 50s or thereabout, the 2050s, I think we're good for the rest of we're gonna live forever. So just
baller.
if we can manage that, just don't die before that. I'm not positive if I'm sure someone has a much better understanding of it than I do.
I think that's what the posters say. They're like, make it to 2050, you'll live forever. Baller.
All right.
That's a headline right there if I ever saw one.
And then lastly, very quickly, it's now Monday the 23rd. Rumor has it, at the time of us recording this at least, that Mountain Lion is going to be released on the 25th. So
those of you math challenged, that's 2 days from now.
Or 2 days from the future.
2 days from,
So keep your eyes open. We'll, of course, be letting you know. And we've got a ton of coverage planned to get you jumping straight into Mountain Lion, whether that's upgrading process or just sort of like learning the new features, wrapping your head around everything the Mountain Lion has to offer.
And the secrets.
And all the secrets. So yeah, keep your eyes open.
On a similar note, Microsoft, this is a little further in the future, but Microsoft announced last week that Windows 8 was going to be released on October 26th. So mark that date. That's actually a Friday, so you can keep that entire weekend open for reading all of the coverage we have and learning all of the secrets of Windows 8. Just don't go out. I know we just said you need to get up and move around, but actually that weekend you should sit in one place and just play with Windows 8.
Or read on your treadmill.
Or read on your treadmill.
Treadmill desk, yeah.
So it's a little further in the future, but a date to mark for your calendars.
Yep. All right, so that is the news for this week. Let's move on to some questions. Our first question comes from a reader whose name starts with an R.
We think.
It says, I have an old Android phone that I want to stream music to from my other Android devices. My plan is to hook it up to a pair of powered speakers. I know there are a lot of options for streaming from a server to a phone, but from one phone/tablet to another? What are your options? So basically it sounds like the idea is you want to use a specific Android phone as sort of like an Airport Express, like one of those, something that you can hook up to your stereo kind of permanently and just stream music to it from any of your other devices.
It's actually a pretty clever idea if you have an old Android phone lying around.
And so, Whitson?
So I haven't tried this myself, but essentially the idea is that you need a phone to not only act as a receiver for the music, but you need another phone to act as the server. Luckily, there are a few apps out there. We featured a few of them, namely TWONKY and SKIFTA, which act not only as receivers, but also as servers. So Alan Henry wrote an article about how to, turn your phone into this mega streaming device. And you should be able to follow those same instructions, but just replace the server with your other Android phone. So you essentially have two Android phones with, TWONKY installed, use one of them as a server and one of them as a receiver, and you should be good to go. It should be that simple.
Can you say the names of those apps just one more time?
TWONKY and SKIFTA.
All right.
We'll have links to them in the show notes because you probably can't spell it just by hearing my weird pronunciation of it.
So that's actually a really, really cool idea. I think we should probably do a post on this.
I have 2 Android phones. I'm gonna try this out.
This seems like kind of one of the best ways you could repurpose your old phone when you upgrade.
Absolutely, it's a lot cheaper than buying a $100 Airport Express or something like that.
Yeah. Thanks, reader whose name may begin with an R.
Yeah.
All right, our next question comes from a caller whose name begins with I'm not sure.
Hi, I'm calling because I know that some of you are into emulation and retro gaming, and I've been wondering if there is a way to jailbreak my Nintendo DS or 3DS or my PlayStation Portable or Vita to emulate some of the old games. I know of alternatives on smartphones, but the absence of physical buttons is a deal breaker for me, and I'd like something a bit more compact than bringing a Bluetooth controller everywhere I go. Anyway, I love the show, and you guys are awesome. Thanks. Bye.
Okay.
All right. This is a easy and hard question to answer because there are a lot of details in actually going through this process, but we will provide links on the screen for the viewers and in the show notes, of course. And if you need a little cartridge. If you're doing the Nintendo DS, that's probably the best way to go here. You can get a little cartridge that is designed to play homebrew games, and you can install emulators on it, and not going to talk about the legal issues with that potentially, but you can install emulators for various systems and then just load emulated games on, and that's pretty much all there is. It's a very easy to explain process on a high level like that. When it comes to actually doing it, it's a little bit more complicated because you have to buy a piece of hardware and you have to learn how all this stuff works. But we have 2 posts that go into depth about this. So
I've seen that hacked DS in action.
It's
Jason
cool.
who wrote that post. It is very cool, and you can also store all of your existing DS games on one cartridge, so you don't have to constantly switch games in and out. It's just really nice. The Nintendo makes such good hackable stuff.
Yeah.
The Wii and the DS both are.
But they hate that people hack it. That's the great part.
I know, but it's funny that they're so much more hackable than the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah, but also there's some of these cartridges, they have on the back of them they have a USB slot, so you can just leave it in your device and just plug in the device to your computer, and it mounts like a drive.
Oh, that's nice.
They're not all like that. Some of them require software, but I don't remember the name of the one that does that, but it came out 5 years ago. So,
yeah. But the DS is very hackable. So you'll enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put in the work.
Cool. How convenient that you know so much about emulation. All right.
It's because he hasn't played a game since 2006.
You mean a game created?
A game created.
After
Actually, it was really
2006?
1995.
Yeah, no, it was 1997.
Yeah.
I was looking at this yesterday.
I've seen you play some iPad games.
Guy still,
have done that.
Dodger still doesn't know how to use the Halo controls. The double stick controls, he still can't get it.
Okay,
It's hilarious to watch you guys.
That up, anybody, if you're out there and you know of a tutorial that can train me to use Halo controls, please send it to us because I need to learn. I really want to play Mass Effect, but I can't do it.
Oh my god. All
Cracks me
right.
up every time.
Okay, so lastly, reader Zach asks, I've tried everything to stop biting my nails to limited success. I was thinking an app which could give me motivation to keep breaking the habit might really help. Are there any apps out there like that exist? If not, does Lifehacker have any suggestions to help me quit?
I do. I stopped biting my nails 3 weeks ago. I'm not used to it. It feels very weird having nails again. Because I can feel my fingers on things. It's bizarre. So it's not all good, but hopefully I'll get used to it. Anyway, there is an app. We actually mentioned it recently. Well, there are probably a few of these, but most recently we mentioned Wonderful Day, which is a Don't Break the Chain app, the Seinfeld productivity hack, where basically you put in what you want to do and then you put a check mark on that task when you do it every day. Personally, I think with nail biting, it would be better to have something on the wall where they can just check it off, especially initially, so you can see that, oh yeah, I didn't bite my nails today. So app-wise, that is what I would recommend going with. When it comes to actually stopping biting your nails, I've tried a lot of things, and here's some things that didn't work for me, but probably work for a lot of other people. It's taking it slow. A lot of people just kind of go cold turkey. I actually went cold turkey and stopped that way, but for the most part, it's tough to do that. Sometimes people will put stuff on their nails so they taste bad, or they can't actually, they'll put Band-Aids or tape or whatever. So if they try to bite it, It's not going to happen. And then...
Ooh. How did that feel?
I think you just
now?
broke the chain
Yeah, a
right
little
there.
bit of-
Oh, that's it. No, I got to get under him.
Adam just put his finger dangerously close to his mouth. Just FYI.
And then, but the other thing is, like, take it slow. You can do one. You can say, I'm not going to bite my thumbs today, and everything else is on the table. And then you can, but then each week you can remove a finger, not with a knife, but from your biting schedule, and then that can help. But as for what I did, that worked for me is I have a few habits that I was like, I really want to just clear these out of my life now. And so I wrote down a thing, just like a page of, I'm going to do this because this is why I want to do it, and this is the, and like I care about myself, and I don't want to be doing bad things to me. So I wrote down all of those things on a page, explained it to myself, then I read it into a camera, and I did this every day for about a month, and then played it back and listened to myself say these things to me. And a lot of the time, I did this because I saw a video about a guy who couldn't use his legs anymore, and found some yoga teacher online that basically taught him to do yoga over the course of a year and got the use of his legs back. And the whole thing was about how he had some coach helping him out. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to find some yoga teacher who's going to stop me from biting my nails and doing some other stuff, but I can be my own coach. So I basically did that, and that worked. Like after a week, I just didn't do it anymore because it was constantly in my head, no, I'm better than this, and that helped a lot. So that's my recommendation. But
just think of all the new things you can do now with nails. You can open battery covers on any phone.
I screwed in the camera to the tripod today because I had a fingernail.
Right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Life is so much... These are the greatest life hackers, fingernails.
Zach, you have asked the right person.
At the right time.
Yeah.
Last month I couldn't help you.
That was very well timed.
All right, cool. So that is it for the questions today. Let's move on to the downloads.
First up, we have a Windows download called DEXPOT, as I'm pretty sure how it's pronounced. It's an app that's been around for a while, but it just updated to version 1.6 this week, and it brings a lot of new features and a lot of new smoothness to the app. It's essentially a virtual desktop manager, much like Spaces on OS X, but for Windows. And it brings a lot of other things to the table, like an expose like window overview and window switching and all sorts of really awesome features. And the new update just brings a lot of new stuff, a lot of smoothness to the app. It sits in your system tray. It's something that honestly should be part of Windows. So if you're a Windows user, go download it now. You will be very glad you did.
For OS X, we have Tweetbot, which is a Twitter client based on the very popular iOS Twitter client of the same name. Tweetbot it's a really nice feature-rich Twitter client, especially if you like the Twitter for Mac client, which has not updated in any significant way for, I don't know, a year or plus since it was bought by Twitter. Tweetbot is currently in alpha, but it's being developed, and it looks like a really awesome alternative that you may want to check out either now or when it becomes an official release.
Next up, we have CHECKMARK for iOS, which is a location-based reminder service, not unlike the one that comes with your iPhone, but it's a lot better than Apple's. Essentially, you have a screen of all of your most visited locations, like your house, your work, the grocery store, the bank, whatever you want to add to the list. And anytime you want to add a task to one of those locations, say I need to remember to get milk, I just pull up the grocery store, add a task, it takes 3 taps, and the next time I'm walking by the grocery store, I'll get a notification on my phone reminding me to buy milk. It's very simple, very easy to use, 99 cents, a must-have for any iPhone user.
Also for iPhone, we have an app called Twist. And what Twist does, as we actually tested it out today as I was coming over here from the podcast, it is an app that lets you say, I'm going from this place to this place, and I want these number of people to know, like Whitson, for example. I wanted him to know when I was going to arrive today. So what it does is it tracks where you are while you're driving from A to B, and it sends a message when you leave saying, this is the estimated time of arrival for me or whoever. And then when you get there, or if at some point you hit a traffic jam and that ETA needs to be updated, it will also send a text message to that person or group of people to let them know that, oh, you're running late. And then when you get there, it'll let them know that you've arrived. And you don't have to do anything, you just kind of leave it on in your car and it goes. So that's really cool, and it's a lot cooler if everyone has the app too, because then it doesn't actually use your text messages. But if you don't, you can still send text messages to people with regular phones or regular cell phones, so they can get updates as well. But it's really cool. It's really helpful to let people know when you're going to get there, and then you don't have to worry about any safety issues in the car. It takes care of everything for you.
We also have the JELLYBEAN keyboard for Android. If you're lucky enough to have Ice Cream Sandwich on your phone, but you don't have JELLYBEAN yet, you can download JELLYBEAN's keyboard for free and install it on your phone. The keyboard is really nice. It's a good upgrade from the Ice Cream Sandwich one. It's got some new predictive text features, not unlike our favorite keyboard, SwiftKey, which you can use if you're not on Ice Cream Sandwich. But it's just a nice upgrade. It's completely free, so if you have Ice Cream Sandwich, go check it out.
All right, everybody, that's it for this week. We will see you next time.
If you'd like to ask us a question, send an email to tips+asklhshow@lifehacker.com. Alternatively, leave us a message at 347-687-8109. Try to keep your questions to a few sentences or 30 seconds so we can keep the show moving quickly. And thanks for listening, watching, or however else you get this podcast from the internet to your brain. This episode was recorded in Los Angeles, California by the Lifehacker staff and edited into a more consumable form by Kyle J. Norris. We'd also like to thank all the people who contributed images to our podcast to help make it look extra nice.